Hey everybody, it's Books and Battlefields here. I finally am able to find some time to do a video on one of my favorite Civil War books, Cause and Comrades by James McPherson. Um, I truly feel that it is one of the best, if not the best, book I have read out of all the books I've read that sheds light on a soldier's life during the Civil War, or pretty much any soldier's life during any kind of war that you've heard about. Um, he goes into great detail with how they're feeling, why they're doing it. I mean, I've had a lot of people I know that ask me, it doesn't make sense. Guys walk into a battle, all in a group or in a line or a phalanx or whatever, and you just stand there and just fire blindly their muskets or, and expect to get shot back. And I told them it wasn't necessarily the case. But I feel like this book answers that question. Um, and not only does it answer that question, but it answers future questions that many would have when they are discussing war or when they are discussing, what soldiers do, what their mindsets are, and just how they feel about these battles and about the conflict and whatever it is that gives them that strength, that courage, that sense of duty and honor. Mainly that's what the book talks about. It's a sense of honor, it's a sense of duty. It's Those are like the main drives for these soldiers. It doesn't matter what side they are on. It's just that it's the cause, and they highly believe in it, and what helps them go on too is their faith. And their faith in God or whoever they believe in, and that God is on their side, and He's going to lead us to victory about their cause, be it for the Confederates or for the Union. It was a deep, deep belief in that, and um, it talks about all these other instances that people go through in these wars, and I this is the first book I ever wrote where I took notes. I wrote in it. Usually writing in one of these books, in my opinion, is sacrilegious, but this book was already previously owned, and it's got highlighted marks. So I went ahead and dabbled in there and did it myself, and I underlined stuff. Um, like I found that the man does not dread to die or to be mutilated is a lunatic. The man who, dreading these things, still faces them for the sake of duty and honor is a hero. And the next line says, duty and honor were indeed powerful motivating forces, as I said, and it says right there, you know. Um, and that's under the chapter This War is a Crusade on page 5. You're 5 pages in, that already tells you pretty much what these soldiers are doing and why they're doing it. Be it Confederate Union. That's also, you will find a lot of those echoes throughout every war. And for the sake of their country, they're fighting for. I found a couple notes that I even wrote. One pertaining to the cause of Union United Northern soldiers, the cause of emancipation divided them. And then I wrote a note in here saying even McClellan, the general of the Army of Potomac, believed this war shouldn't be fought for this purpose, i.e., for emancipation. And this is why he ran against Lincoln in the next presidential race. But a lot of us were lucky he lost, or we wouldn't have possibly won the war. I mean, those are all those what ifs, you know. But I was curious to know how many Union soldiers walked out and abandoned after finding this out, or felt this is the new course for the war. You know, how many people fought for the Union and then like, oh crap, this is not what I signed up for. Let me skedaddle. Let me abandon my beliefs because this is not what I believe in now. And I know some soldiers did that. It says it in the book. Some armies found that soldiers ran away. They decided to leave and quit dishonorably, and that hurt the armies. I mean, and on the flip side, the Confederates, they took it way more personally, and I would believe that some of them enlisted more for the cause to save their livelihoods. But it's just a book that delves into it. I mean, you'll find that cause for anything and the effects for anything change in any war. I found a few echoes of the past that sometimes represent the future. Not in a sense of representing the future, but you find it echoing in today's world. Even World War II, the Spanish-American War, World War One, like, and you were able to connect with veterans, I believe, of recent wars and understand it better. And that's why I love this book. This it's a book that everybody needs to read. Everybody, and that's my opinion. Like, that's my straight up opinion. I believe you should read this book solely to understand why the everyday person will go out and fight for whatever it is they believe in. And it's remarkable. It's touching, it's moving, it's heart-wrenching, and it just, it gives you that sense of being able to not necessarily relate but understand. And I think that's what people need to know, and that's why people need to read it. And James McPherson does a great job, and he uses letters and personal diaries, and he doesn't just go into these people's lives on a whim. He goes through records, he goes through family findings of diaries, as I said, and they donate them, and he finds them all throughout the national records, and he brings it all together and creates this wonderful book. And to any history guy out there, any history girl out there, anybody that loves history needs to read it. I can't say it enough. I've been saying it a lot this whole video, but it needs to be read. You'll understand why more when you do, and you're going to come back and say, "Holy crap, Charles, you were right." I get it, and truly, honestly, and as I said, more people need to read it. And like one of these highlighted ones was, it says on page 61, "If I flinched, I was ruined." That's the chapter. "What really counted were not social institutions, but one's own virtue, will, convictions of duty and honor, religious faith, in a word, one's character. God controlled human destiny, but God helped those who helped themselves. Those were the beliefs and values that most soldiers brought with them into the army. Training, discipline, and leadership could teach them how to fight and might help them overcome fear and the instinct of self preservation. But the deeper sources of their combat motivation had to come from inside themselves. That helped me answer that question of how people can go out there and just get slaughtered, like in these lines, in the nitty gritty of it. You know, you're facing the Stonewall Jackson's brigade. You're facing the Iron Brigade on the other side, you know, and that's the gist of that book. And I hope you guys get a chance to read it. And when you do, I'd be happy to discuss it. Literally, like, and it's only what 100 and what was it exactly? I'm sorry. It's 100 and looks like it's 170 something pages. 177 178 pages.